Your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
I keep following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
Protests and anthems, yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of, it's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the boy where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, my best align.
No time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days and midnight marauders, even through charges and days of darkness. No, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They could be bridges that know no borders. For so long, them folks try to ignore us. So we at the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people of Georgia, who galvanized so that we can move forward. Steps are ordered with the presence of mind. Everything's more beautiful in time.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, 'cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, your host and chief White House correspondent. I'm in touch, and so guess what? You be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, and like magic, we pop right on up, fresh for you to follow. Have you subscribed to A More Perfect Union podcast? Well, have you? If not, now's a good time to do it. And if you have, you may want to tell some of your friends to do the same. That way you'll never, ever, ever miss an episode. Last but not least, make sure you download the KBLA app while you're at it. That way you can listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580, and there we are. And so there you have it. That's all of our homework there. Shout out to our leaders, learners, and listeners that are streaming us live on YouTube right now in A More Perfect group chat. We see you. We see you, Selena Ricks. We thank you for joining us for this Thursday show in afternoon drive time. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And kicking us off, the LA Times is reporting that Mayor Bass says that the Los Angeles Fire Department Chief Crowley failed to warn her about fire risk. In the weeks since the Palisades fire, LA Mayor Karen Bass has faced repeated questions about why she left for Ghana as warnings about dangerous winds grew increasingly worrisome. This week, Mayor Bass and her office spoke out for the first time about her decision, putting the blame on the Los Angeles Fire Department Chief Kristen Crowley and others for not warning her about the highly concerning weather forecasts. Crowley did not reach out to the mayor's chief deputy until Tuesday morning, January 7th, after the Palisades was already burning. On January 2nd, the National Weather Service warned on its X feed of the potential for extreme fire weather conditions beginning on January 7th. The agency's forecast escalated on January 3rd to, quotes, major risk, take action, and critical fire condition. The next day, Bass left for Ghana as a part of a presidential delegation. So by January 6th, the agency was blaring on X, heads up, a life-threatening, destructive, widespread windstorm is expected Tuesday afternoon through Wednesday morning. And the frightening wind forecast in a winter when the LA area had barely seen any rain was featured in numerous news reports. And so a representative from the fire department didn't directly address the allegations that Crowley didn't call Bass. And in the days after the fire erupted, tensions between Bass and Crowley emerged into public view, with Crowley saying on television that the city of Los Angeles, and by implication Bass, had failed her and her department by not providing more funding and resources. And so now that the fires are over and the rebuilding begins, there are going to be, I'm sure, lots of investigations as to who knew what and what happened when. And ultimately, we, the people, will decide who we choose to hold accountable as we find our way out of this catastrophe. There's no other word to describe it. It's a catastrophe. In other news, KCAL journalist Chauncey Glover, his cause of death has been revealed. The LA Times reporting that the Emmy-winning news anchor died with drugs in his system, and his death has been ruled an accident, according to the County of Los Angeles Department of Medical Examiner. Medical Examiner's office confirmed just yesterday in a statement that the 39-year-old's death was caused by acute intoxication by the combined effects of chlorothane and methamphetamine. The manner of his death was listed as an accident. Glover, of course, was found unresponsive in his home on November 5th and was pronounced dead by the fire department personnel at 12:40 a.m. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control say that chlorothane, which is also called ethyl chloride, is a colorless gas with sharp odor that can also exist as quick evaporating liquid. It's used as a solvent, refrigerant, topical anesthetic, and in the manufacture of dyes, chemicals, and pharmaceuticals, as well as a medication to alleviate pain associated with insect burns and stings. That's according to the Environmental Protection Agency. It's not clear how Glover came into contact with the chemical, but we are thinking about our friends and colleagues at KCAL9, and of course, the Glover family, who I'm sure is devastated by this accident, as ruled by the LA County Medical Examiner. In brighter news, Beyonce and Blue Ivy and Kendrick Lamar have won an NAACP Image Award. Rolling Stone is reporting that Beyonce and Blue Ivy both took home trophies at the 56th annual NAACP Image Awards. Other winners during the two-night award ceremony included Kendrick Lamar, Doechii, Chris Brown, Samara Joy, Malcolm Washington, and Tamela Mann. Beyonce won 2 awards, Outstanding Female Artist and Outstanding Album for Cowboy Carter. Lamar earned Outstanding Song, Hip Hop Rap for Not Like Us, while Doechii was named Outstanding New Artist. Blue Ivy won Outstanding Character Voice Performance for her work in the recent film Mufasa, The Lion King, in which she voiced young lion Kiara. And Netflix film The 688 also earned several awards, including Outstanding Ensemble Cast in a Motion Picture. Congratulations to all the awardees, and congratulations to all the nominees. The NAACP Image Awards telecast on BET and CBS will take place this Saturday, and so be sure to check that out. I'm sure we'll have a lot to say next Monday after it's all said and done, but congratulations to everyone who's nominated. It's just an honor to be nominated. Yesterday, you saw me bring in one of Tavis Smiley's Image Awards, in which case in his office, he has a lot of them. If you've never seen an NAACP Image Award before, you might be overwhelmed walking into Tavis Smiley's office. And here's the kicker. Those aren't even all of them, right? And so, again, congratulations to all of the nominees. When we come forward, I'm really pleased to welcome James A. Muhammad. He's a transformative leader, reshaping public radio here in Los Angeles and beyond. He is the president of the USC Radio Group, Fight On, which oversees the acclaimed Classical California Network, otherwise known as KUSC in Los Angeles and KDFC in San Francisco. He is spearheading efforts to make classical music more accessible, more inclusive, and more forward-thinking. I want to hear all about it, and I have a feeling that you do too. More with James A. Muhammad. When we come forward, you're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai. I'm really delighted to welcome to the show James A. Muhammad. He is the president of the USC Radio Group, and as a proud USC alum, I couldn't be more excited to welcome you to A More Perfect Union. How are you, sir?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm doing great. It's definitely an honor to be here.
Well, it's an honor to have you, and it's an honor to really sort of stretch out with you and talk about some of the work that you are leading. Under your leadership, KUSC, as I understand it, has reached a historic milestone just last year, becoming the nation's largest classical radio station with over 470,000 weekly listeners. The success is a credit to your dedication to expanding public radio's reach, to expanding it to include and amplify diverse voices and engaging underrepresented communities. Talk to us about what made you take this up as your cause to attract more people to classical music, to make it more accessible to audiences that previously had been looked over.
Yes, excellent question. So, that really starts with my upbringing. And, I'm the son of two parents who met in the college choir. My father was a music major, a music educator, and taught music and lectured most of my life. And so in my mind, I wasn't aware that there were any restrictions or guardrails around classical music, because I would see my father teaching the physician's child how to play a Chopin etude, and also teaching probably the plumber's child, or he shared music freely. And so music was in the home. And so I have a personal commitment to the multitude of cultures and voices that have positively influenced classical music. And so here at Classical California, we're the largest classical music radio network in America. And, and you're right, we've had extreme success. Very recently, we're in the top 10 of radio stations in Los Angeles, and highest share very recently in the history of the organization. And that's all because of how we look at what we do. So, ultimately, our goal is to make everyday life more harmonious, and that's for everyone. Our core value is excellence. We have tools that we use, in the curation of music and how we present classical music. And so in order to reach this level of excellence, we pay special attention and look closely to the best that we can find in the art form, and create experiences that come from different contributions to classical music. And for instance, in your audience would be especially interested in, how we present the African-American influences on that in what we do. So along with hearing what you might call traditional classical composers, you may hear some compositions by Adolphus Hailstork, or you could hear Margaret Bonds or Florence Price or any of the folks, and also the performers. And so we're creating an experience with classical music that is welcoming, that is engaging, and that is original. And we are setting the tone, setting the standard, and setting the pace, because I believe there's a lot at stake. There's a lot of healing power and research. The research supports the healing power of classical music and what it does for us mentally and for our state of mind. And so we just believe that, it's our duty to represent the art form as it is. Not something that's stuck in time, but something that is a living organism, something that grows. And it's something that belongs to all of us. And so we present it in a way, and how we talk about the music is we're very intentional about presenting the music in a way that you can understand what we're saying, that you are learning something. But the totality of everything that you hear on Classical California is really about creating this sense of belonging and welcoming and calm, and an experience that is enriching, that is inspiring. And with that, you learn a little bit more about all that classical music has been, but also all that it can be.
And I also want to give you an opportunity to do some myth busting, because I think when folks think classical music, I think some of us have a very sort of fixed idea of what classical music entails. The classical music artists, the Mozarts, the Beethovens, that fall into that genre. And I think for so many of us, we don't necessarily see people that look like our family members or look like our neighbors that are celebrated in the genre. And so I want to give you a chance to sort of, bust some myths about classical music.
Yeah, I mean, from the earliest days in classical music, there's been influences from Africa, the Middle East, and it only continued to grow. And there's great influences from people like Harry T. Burleigh, as well as one name is escaping me right now. It'll come to Edmond Dede, as well as Chevalier de Saint-Georges, who was an amazing composer and conductor and violin virtuoso of his time. And so that is actually the truth of classical music. This people taking an art form to express themselves, and all people have done that, and that's what my father did. And so growing up in the segregated South, he was learning classical music in an African American community, and grew up, and then he's performing it for everyone. So the fact of the matter is the influences of classical music are global, and we actually have, for instance, a stream, Nuestra Musica, that's dedicated to influences from Latin America, the Spanish-speaking world, on classical music. You regularly hear the influences from Africa, from the Middle East, from around the world in the classical music that you're going to hear on our station. So I think, there has been a popular notion of it being a purely European art form, and encompassing a very short list of primarily European and male composers, but that is not the full story of the art form. And so we believe in what we do. We are painting a picture of what classical music is, and also what it can be. And, one of the things that we've done very recently, in November, we did a project with RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, who has written a ballet. And most people wouldn't, they go like, what? RZA wrote a ballet? He actually did, and it's quite good.
My ears perked up.
Yes. And you can actually hear RZA's ballet on Classical California on KUSC here in Los Angeles, because it's a part of our playlist. And RZA is actually, we have a series called Classical Californians, where we bring in outstanding musicians that we profile, and on that are just some folks like Anna Kiko Myers, for instance, but RZA is one. So, as an institution, we celebrate excellence in classical music in all its forms and all its cultural influences, and it's resonating. And we see that we're growing, and we see that we are growing in impact, we're growing in influence, and we take this same mindset to the work that we do. So coming up on March 6th, we'll be doing a project with our resident artist, Laura Downs, who's a phenomenal pianist, but she's also our evening host. And that series is called I Believe. And so we go and we're with young people, and we present to them, composers of color like William Grant Seal or Florence Price, and they get to hear this music. And along with that, they get to create their own I believe statements, and they get to ask questions about the music. And we involve young people in this. And so March 6th will be in Inglewood with the Youth Orchestra of Los Angeles doing just that. And we've done it in the Bay Area as well. And all of that is really about, through our over-the-air and engagement, to be able to present the art form in a way that respects its legacy, its roots, but we believe is a truer story of what classical music is for people.
We love it. We love it. And make sure you mark your calendars for March 6th, especially if you're going to be in Inglewood. I know there are a number of exciting events that you all have planned for the spring, including the Adrian Dunn Singers Black History Month celebration concert at the Colburn School. You just mentioned the I Believe programming during Women's History Month on March 6th. And also the LA Times Festival of Books happening at USC in April. You all are going to be involved with that as well. When we come forward, we're going to talk a little bit about your origin story. It's not often that I get to an African-American executive who is on a mission to make classical music more accessible. We want to learn your origin story and more when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with James A. Muhammad, the president of the USC Radio Group.
If you're looking to be engaged, enlightened, and empowered about issues related to national politics, elections, identity, culture change, and social justice, you tuned into the right place. A More Perfect Union continues when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. 14 new Georgia project workers were fired last month shortly after signing a union petition. The group cites economic struggles, marking its 3rd round of cuts. Stacey Abrams, who is Black and founded it, has not been involved since 2017. Wall Street is closing with stocks sharply lower. Walmart dropped shares after reporting a weak forecast for 2026, and it caused other retailers like Costco and Target to drop as well. New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin and Black New York Attorney General Letitia James are leading 23 states in suing to save the Consumer Financial Protection Agency, which President Trump plans to shut down. They argue it would weaken fraud protections and bank oversight. And the Bourbon Street Terror Attack Monument in New Orleans is moving to the Presbyterian Museum before Mardi Gras. Black Mayor LaToya Cantrell says the move is coordinated with victims' families. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Big problems in Diamond Bar for the 60 East at the 57 North. 3 right lanes and the 57 North connector remain off limits due to an early morning crash, ongoing investigation, and cleanup. It's going to be close to 6 before they get more lanes reopened. Big delays away from Hacienda, and North 57 jammed up all the way from Imperial Highway. Very slow in Pasadena due to a stalled out tractor trailer truck. 210 eastbound Hill Avenue. 3 right lanes blocked here. Delays from Mountain and Elysian Park, a crash on the 5 southbound past the 110. 3 right lanes are blocked. Delays loading up out of Burbank from Olive.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, CalHope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Some disappointing news around the NBA today. San Antonio Spurs center Victor Wembanyama will miss the rest of the season after he was diagnosed with a blood clot in his right shoulder. The second-year star from France played in Sunday's NBA All-Star game. Milwaukee Bucks forward Bobby Portis was suspended 25 games without pay for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy. A random test revealed Portis, a key player for the Bucks off the bench, had taken tramadol, a medication for severe pain. The Chargers will be the host team for an NFL regular season game in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The game is scheduled for Friday, September 5th. The NFL has yet to announce who the Chargers will play. The UCLA women's basketball team, ranked 3rd in the country, is back in action tonight against Illinois. 6:30 tip-off at Pauley Pavilion. You can catch the game live on the Big Ten Network. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck B. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number and put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me.
National news of consequence. Informed opinion. And analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and really delighted to be in conversation with James A. Muhammad. He is the president of the USC Radio Group, which is convener of Classical California. And so if you listen to stations like KUSC, Fight On in Los Angeles, if you listen to stations like KDFC in San Francisco, then they're all a part of Classical California. And James A. Muhammad is really on a mission to make classical music more accessible to all of us. But James, your journey started a long time ago, starting with being one of America's youngest classical announcers. Who knew that you'd go from being an announcer to becoming a nationally recognized public media executive? What attracted you to classical music? I know that both you mentioned at the top of our conversation that your parents were in the music. Your parents were musicians, but what attracted you to classical music specifically?
Yeah. So, when I was growing up, my father had one rule of several. One was everyone living in this house must study music. And he played classical music all day. If there was anything being played, he was playing in the car and using public radio. So that was really my my earliest exposure to it. I will be honest, as a 4, 5, 6, it was torture. I was like, why are you making me listen to this? Over time, I grew to appreciate it. And when you talk about being a young classical music announcer, that story is actually a little odd. And I was working at what is now Alabama Public Radio, because I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I needed an internship to graduate. So I was working in public radio, and after a couple of years and after graduation, they were going to be switching some people out. I was doing reporting and production work, and the general manager approached me and said, well, don't you know about classical music? And I was like, yeah, I know some. It's like, but your dad taught it. And I was like, yeah, you played all the different instruments. I said, I did. And did you go to college on a choral music scholarship? And I was like, I did. I don't know where this is going. And he said, hey, would you be interested in being trained to be a classical music announcer? And, my first thought was, like, gosh, I would be giving up all my cool points, to in the early 90s to be a classical music announcer. But I needed health insurance, and it was more money, and I could go from contract work to full time. And so I took it. And so I started doing that, and somewhere around about 1993, 94. And I served, full time then, but part time up until about 2013 in different markets. And so working in classical music has just been something that's kind of been in my DNA. So I've really enjoyed music broadly, but classical music is just really special to me.
It is special. It's special, and it can be very therapeutic. I know that there have been so many more studies in recent years that suggests how therapeutic music can be in general. We know for folks who are living with dementia, various forms of dementia, that music therapy has proven to make a difference. For folks who are on the spectrum, music therapy has also made a difference for them as well. And so let's talk about, classical music as therapy. All these headlines coming out of places like Washington, D.C. We need as much therapy as we can get on the cheap. And so talk to us about, how you all are positioning classical music, as a form of therapy for folks, given some of the public health risks that we're seeing, particularly when it comes to communities of color.
Yeah. So, when you think about it, and so we've done a short documentary called Classical Music in the Brain in partnership with the Brain and Creativity Institute at USC. It's available on the Classical California YouTube page. But, there are a number of stories, there's a number of research around the calming effects of classical music and its benefits for attention, increasing attention. And so, what we do is, we understand that many people are coming to us as a respite from chaos. It's a place to recenter. It's a place to regain focus but inspiration. And so we do program for experience with that. And with that, you can hear, the wide variety and the expansive curation mindset that we have to present things that are maybe less familiar, but excellent, along with things that you may know. So with that, it really creates an experience that I think anyone can come to, not feel isolated or othered, because we embrace so many influences in the art form, both programmatically, but also with our engagement efforts.
I mentioned at the top of our conversation that you've done a lot of work in the public radio arena. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you just sort of how is Classical California sort of, thinking about its work in light of some of the, potential challenges just around the corner in terms of maintaining funding, particularly when it comes to sources like the federal government and state government. How are you all sort of thinking about ensuring that your mission endures and all of the work that you've done to make classical music more accessible doesn't go away with any challenges to your funding?
Yeah, and the future in that realm, that's uncertain, but the real value in what we do as a listener supported institution, it's in our listeners, it's in our donors. It's in those people who believe in what we do. And when I receive stories of people who are losing hope and losing faith, and there's a gentleman who I received an email on a day that I was really going through a lot just at work and trying to figure things out, and saw this message of this gentleman said while he was going through chemotherapy, was listening to our station and he heard the theme from Superman by John Williams and how that inspired him and gave him hope to continue in that moment, and how going through chemotherapy each time he listened to KUSC. And also stories of someone, who lost a loved one, and their final request was to play KUSC because of what the companionship means to people. And it has everything to do with having a community of people working in the arts and advocating for the arts who care about people. So, we do what we do because we care about people. And we are always having the conversation internally about how we best serve people. How can we best influence the community in a positive way, that in whatever small way that we can provide, whether it be comfort, inspiration, or if it's just simply companionship with our announcers such as Jennifer Miller Hamill, Alan Chapman, Brian Lortson. And these are people that, our listeners feel as if these folks are their friends. And because of the attention that they pay to how they communicate people with our folks, and the fact that we start with caring about people, and our purpose is to make everyday life more harmonious. And we did that in the LA fires, that we had staff members who had to flee and all of those things. But even in that time, when you turned on KUSC or KDFC in the Bay Area, you heard what we show up for every day, because we care about people. And we believe what we do actually matters for society. So in light of what external challenges may exist, my faith is in the unified community of listeners that we have who support us.
And very similar to you, we have really great leaders, learners, and listeners that tap in each and every day to the work that we're doing here at KBLA, the work that we're doing here on A More Perfect Union. Many of them are streaming this live right now on YouTube. I see Selena Ricks saying that music plays in her head all the time. And she says she's singing right now. That's how, with chaos happening right now, music is her happy place. Anthony Westcott says, amen. We can't change the whole world at once, but we can keep our inner fire going. That's how we win. It's like staying prayed up. Keep the high vibes and lead the lives of all the tribes. We hear you. We see you, Anthony Westcott. And I want to double click on what Selena Ricks is saying to Anthony, that he is definitely giving glass half full vibes. And, so are you. And it's part of the reason why a lot of people think of you, James, as a social impact hero. On this show, we talk about doing what you can from where you are with what you have, and your body of work has really exemplified that.
Thank you so much. I try, but it's really about the team here that we have at Classical California. I mean, I would say in what we do, we have the most brilliant, most talented people and the most passionate people at the helm, and they show up every day, and they show up for each other, and they show up for our community. So I'm very proud to work with all of them.
Well, no doubt, I'm sure they are very proud to work with you. Where can people go to tap in to the work that Classical California is leading? And at a minimum, where can we go to listen to some classical music therapy?
Yeah. So you can download our app in the App Store, just Classical KUSC. We have a number of wonderful streams, Classical Americana. We have a stream dedicated to gaming music, a stream dedicated to that's to young people. But that's in KUSC. You just put that in and download it from the App Store. 91.5 in Los Angeles. Where you can get us over the air, and our website is
We're having just a little bit of trouble hearing.
I think we froze for a second.
Yep. James, go ahead real quick with that website. Where can people go? All right. Well, we're going to get that website for you. Our thanks.
KUSC.org.
KUSC.org. You heard it here. Our thanks to James A. Muhammad. He's the president of the USC Radio Group, leading Classical California. We are really pleased to lift up your story and to tap into some of the great events that you have coming down the pike, from Inglewood to the LA Times Book Festival at USC and more. Keep doing what you're doing, and please come back again soon. You're listening to and streaming
I
a More
love
Perfect.
it. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, Black Men Smile. Prioritizing Black joy in bleak times. You don't want to miss this story that very well may put a smile on your face. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now save 50% on the new Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. Exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Anybody tell you how much they love your smile lately? No. Don't say I didn't tell you. I'm Nii-Quartelai Corte, and you're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Black Men Smile prioritizes Black joy in bleak times. I saw the story, and I absolutely had to share it with you. 10 years ago, Carlton Mackey, like much of the country's Black population, was overwhelmed by media images of death, of anger, and unrest in the wake of Michael Brown's killing in Ferguson, Missouri, that is, and cities across the country erupted in protest. Y'all remember that? Well, Mackey waded through social media hashtags circulating at the time, like hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag Mike Brown, hashtag Hands Up Don't Shoot. Remember all those? All delivering hundreds of results with images exuding sadness and pain and frustration. Then he typed in the hashtag Black Men Smile. It yielded 0 results. And he says he was angry and confused. He decided to take action and thought, this is an opportunity to claim a space and make it a place where you can go and see and know that there is another modality of existence, one of joy, one of one that reflects our lives. And so the hashtag Black Men Smile was an opportunity to take up space that had not been claimed yet. Mackey made it his mission to promote images of men smiling and expressing joy amid the political turmoil. It quickly grew into a mini movement, y'all. Men across the country populated the hashtag with smiling images along vulnerable captions about personal growth, about optimism. One man wrote that He smiles because he has hope that my situation will change. Another wrote, thinking about how far I've come from one form of life to another, but knowing that I'm still the same kid that made his first PlayStation out of cardboard. Over the years, the small team of two, Mackey and the company's director of narrative media, Jeremiah Griffin, have grown the empowerment company from the ground up. Today, the brand's Instagram account has more than 100,000 followers and has expanded into apparel with a line of sweatshirts and other items branding messages like Black Joy is revolutionary. And so I think that's a good note for us to wrap up today. Congratulations to Mr. Mackey, Carlton Mackey, that is. We hope to have him on the show at some point, but until then, go ahead and utilize Black Men Smile. I hope you have a reason to smile this weekend. We sure do. We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to the entire village. It helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, Andy, our show producers, Faraji and Kim, and of course, each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners. I see you in a More Perfect group chat on the YouTube, streaming us from places like Philadelphia and Minneapolis. And so continue to spread the word and be sure to have a good weekend. Last but not least, don't forget, do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Have a great weekend, y'all.